Okay.
Okay, so this is season 4, episode 12, and it's called Still. And then we're also going to do season 4, episode 13 alone. And we can just kind of do these together because these are probably two of the, Still, especially number 12, is, so incredibly boring. And I don't have much to say about it.
I agree.
It's just so boring.
Yeah, I would say this episode and then continuing on is really where the first time I watched the series when it was still airing, this is where I just started to lose interest, and then it took a little while for me to just fully give up, but this is where it started to really lose me because this is just excruciating. It's tedious, it's dull. They're just like wandering through the woods and following the train tracks for so long. And go ahead.
And 12 doesn't add anything to the story, literally nothing, except for they're trying to play up this romance between Beth and Daryl.
The hot, steamy romance.
Why? Come on. I know that Daryl's not as old as her father, but that's because her father was ancient.
Exactly, yes.
He is old enough to be her father.
Oh, yes.
And it's just, oh my God. Okay, so Beth decides, wait. So they start the episode running from walkers and a storm is coming in. And so they jump into a trunk of a car. And I even said, I don't think a trunk would be big enough for the both of them. But then as the episode goes on, the trunk looks so massive. It looks like they're almost sitting up and comfortable in the trunk. And they just tie it closed.
Yeah, Daryl just has I don't know, it looks like a strip of cloth or like a sash from a bathrobe or something that he just has on him, and he's just he just pulls the trunk shut, but not fully shut.
Right,
there's maybe an inch or two gap, and the walkers, because it sounds like there's a lot of them outside that just swarm up. I guess they were running from them, but whatever. They just swarm up on them once they're in the trunk, and they just conveniently don't stick their fingers in the gap and just all yank it open and eat them, because they'd be trapped. That is, I don't think that's actually a good place to hide at all. If you know that walkers are about to, if you're just hiding, it'd be okay, but.
And then, they stay in there all night, awake, and then by morning, the walkers have left them. And
they just got bored and left, I guess.
Yeah, that's not what a walker would do. A walker, if they smelled a human or they thought, we've even seen in the past, maybe in the future, where there's, a sign that's, squeaking on the side of the road, and, a horde of walkers are, attracted to the squeaking sign, and they don't give up unless something else distracts them.
You're right.
And so... Oh, I think those were in the episodes with the governor.
Okay, that could be. I don't specifically remember that, but it does sound kind of familiar.
They're walking on the road, and Megan is afraid of Brian because she watched Brian kill her grandpa as he was reanimating. And they pass all these walkers, and the walkers hear them and start kind of following them, and he's like, "Come here, Megan, come here," and then she runs to him, and their bond is restored.
Okay. But you're right that they don't.
They're relentless.
They don't just give up.
Right.
Yeah. If they think there's prey there, then they pretty much just remain there until unless something else draws their attention.
If a deer walked by or something and drew their attention in, but I don't think they would just walk away like that.
I agree. And maybe the implication is that the storm blew them away and scattered them or something. But that doesn't make a ton of sense. There'd still be some of them left.
And and so then they're eating the snake that they found, and Beth is I need a drink, a real drink, an alcoholic drink. I never had any because of my dad. And it's well, yeah, you're also 12. But...
That's true. She's 16. I don't something like that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I just want to say how terrible Beth's actress is. She's terrible. She is inexcusably bad. it's really painful. I think it's weird that some people like Beth and were sad when she died, because I don't think that makes the slightest bit of sense.
Okay, so I don't remember if it was 12 or 13, but at one point she starts singing this song, and I was like, I've never heard this song. And
I think it was 12,
okay,
yeah.
And I'm pretty familiar with songs, and so I like looked up some of the lyrics, and it's actually this actresses / singers song, and I'm like, this is just more self-promotion. Like, she sings pretty frequently. This is the third time, right?
Yeah, it's the third time I remember. Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, wow, you are just whoring it out to get some fans for your singing career.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the songs are not catchy. Like...
No, they're just these weird kind of, like, folky...
Yeah.
Things. Yeah, I
think it's kind of funny because the song that she's singing is, like, a beard, a shotgun, and that's the only line that I remember because they said it, like... over and like every time she stopped the song and restarted it, that was the line that she was saying.
Okay.
But like, I think it's funny because she's never had a beer. This character has never had a beer. She shouldn't know what a shotgun is because she didn't know what moonshine was.
Okay.
And like, this whole episode is about like her finding alcohol, and then she's singing about alcohol.
That's true.
I don't know what the rest of the song is about.
Yeah, you'd think Herschel would be like, wait, what is he? He's like, we don't sing about alcohol in this house.
Right.
Bethy. Yeah.
Yeah, because they find this, like, country club, right? That they're going through and attracting a ton of walkers. And so there's one walker that, like, she's, like, trying to climb a shelf, like a wire shelf to get... I think it's wine on the top shelf, and another walker hears her and like comes after her, and so she like breaks the bottle and is stabbing the walker in the head with the bottle, and like stabs him and pulls it out, and stabs him and pulls it out, and I'm like, the glass would not hold up to that. Like, this is unrealistic. And so
it is. It's very stupid.
They go through walkers, they go through a clothing department, they go through more walkers and more walkers and more walkers, then they finally get to the bar. And all that's there is peach schnapps. And she's like trying to clean out this cup that has blood in it. And it's like, are you kidding me? You're going to drink someone else's blood with your peach schnapps? You're not just going to drink from the bottle? And then Daryl ends up breaking the bottle. He's like, peach schnapps isn't going to be your first drink. And he takes her to this like cabin.
Yeah.
And shows
like, I'm going to get you hillbilly moonshine.
Right.
That's so much better.
And like, she doesn't know what moonshine is. I'm like, then you're obviously not old enough to drink. And so then she's like, play a drinking game with me. And she's trying to learn more about him and insults him.
Trying to get him drunk enough to have sex with her.
That's exactly what it is, yeah.
Little does she know there's no amount of alcohol that would make that possible.
And Daryl gets mad and he's like, I gotta piss in the corner, and just... that.
And then he goes on a rant. I mean, he's pretty much just telling her what a piece of garbage she is and how much he hates her, which is good. I mean, because he's like, oh, I never sang in front of a whole group like it was all fun and games, and I never, I don't know, what something else, like, you know, I never was a little bitch like you and had my weird eyebrows that are like 5 inches apart from each other and they're all pointing down.
And how do you have such manicured eyebrows during the apocalypse? I don't understand. Are they tattoos? And I mean, that's like pretty much the episode. Like,
and then they like reconcile.
And then like her foot gets caught in a snare trap.
Because like when he's I want to point out again, like just keeping with, I think this is both of them being bad actors because they're supposed to be really drunk.
Yes.
For like the second half of this episode. And I don't believe for a single second that either of these actors is really trying to act drunk at all.
Yeah, they're drinking moonshine.
Like very few actors can convincingly seem intoxicated at all. Like most actors struggle with that, and they just think they don't seem like they're actually drunk. But these guys aren't trying at all. Like they're just not trying. Like they're not acting any different other than Daryl's getting moody.
Right.
Like they're not acting like they're actually drunk at all, and it kind of bugs me because they're supposed to be drinking this pretty strong moonshine. Like they're drinking a good amount of it. I mean, they should be drunk, and there's nothing to suggest that they are. So and then when Daryl is being all moody and drunk, then there's like this walker that was outside, attracted by him cleverly banging nails into the walls for no clear reason, because they're like too high up. Because the window he was like nailing a board over is like 8 feet above the ground, if I'm remembering correctly, because the walker's like down there.
Okay.
But anyway,
I don't remember.
And so, so then when he's drunk and when he's like bitching her out, he, because one of the things she said in the drinking game was, "I never shot a crossbow."
Oh, you're right.
And so then he's like, "You never shot a crossbow," or else I guess he's more like, he's like, "You never shot a crossbow." That's what he sounds like.
You're doing our dog's voice.
No. That's what I mean. Okay, but he's increasingly he's like
he's like gruffier.
It's like, "You never shot a crossbow." Not like that either. Where are the drums going?
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. So he's like, you never shot a crossbow. Well, let's go shoot a crossbow.
That's
and then,
pretty good one.
Thank you. Really, I didn't feel like that sounded like him at all. Okay. Okay. So let's see, and then is that when she gets stuck in the snare? Okay. And then she's hurt, and then they kind of reconcile, right?
Yeah.
And then they decide to just like burn. Oh no, they go back to the country club, right? Because like they were in this like moonshiner's shack, and and like, I mean, I think the justification for this episode, like I'm sure what the writer would say is, oh, it gives us so much backstory and insight into both. I mean, like mostly Daryl, but Beth, and it's just so good, such good character development. That is not true. That is not true.
No.
It's a clumsy, half-witted attempt to do that. But all we really learn is, let's see, Daryl's dad was a drunk hillbilly,
right,
who made moonshine.
We already knew,
right? Like aside from the moonshine thing, we knew that, like, he would like buy crappy. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. It's like Beth finds this like ashtray in the.
I think it's supposed to be a planter.
Oh
no, but I think so. Okay. But it's like full of hundreds of cigarettes. Yeah. But like I assumed that was supposed to be a planter, because that would be like. It would be really weird to have like such an enormous ashtray and actually sell it for that.
Like it's in the shape of like a pair of breasts, and and that's like, who would walk out of the store with something like this? And Daryl's like, my dad would. He used to use it as target practice on top of the TV. She's like, your dad shot in the house. It's like, yeah, you guys had very different lives. Like, get over it. So like I don't even remember if they went back to the country club. So this point in the episode, I'm just like,
that's okay. That's kind of how I felt. Like after, like, 'cause I kind of missed the part this time where she got in the snare, because like I was like that was. It gets hard to pay attention towards the end of this episode.
Yeah, this episode sucks.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad. So like all we really find out is some kind of meaningless, stupid trivia about Daryl's stupid, gross hillbilly life. Yeah. I mean, like, because I don't know. There's something where he's saying like, oh, my dad had this gross furniture. And, you need a flower pot to urinate into, and then you throw it out the window, and passing deer are attracted to it, and then you shoot them, and then you eat them, and things like that. And then, let's see. And then...
I think that's pretty much the whole episode. Like...
Oh, and there's like some stupid thing where he's like telling a story about like Merle, when he was with Merle and this other junkie. And he was like, I thought I was going to die over a stupid cartoon show about a dog. And I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but... it's just... He said that.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. I don't remember that.
But anyway, like... No, but it's so stupid. It's like, I think the writer would think this is like very clever insightful, deep stuff, and it's just stupid. It's just stupid. Yeah, so then, okay, so, and then when he's on his, quote-unquote drunken rant, you know, I think it'd be funny if this turned out to not actually be alcohol that they're drinking. Like, they just start acting weird, but it's actually water, and they're just both too clueless to realize what's going on.
It's like, it's not a moonshine, it's like filtered water system.
Yeah, it's just tainted, so it smells and tastes like alcohol or something. Like, yeah. So then when he's on his drunken rant, he's like, I never got anything from Santa Claus. I never got, nobody ever helped me with anything. Like,
I've never depended on anybody.
Nobody ever told or taught me how to wipe my butt. I still don't know how to do it, as you may have noticed while we've been on this trip.
It's like, well, also as a baby,
I tried using the snake skin. It didn't work so well, so I'm never trying it again. Don't ask me to. But anyway.
As a baby, you depended on people, so that's
yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. And then, go ahead.
No, I was just say this episode is so boring.
Oh, it's terrible.
13 isn't much better.
So, and then, so then at the end of number 12, I think they do go back to the country club, because remember, they're burning it down, and they're burning the money. And that weird song, Revenge of the Wolf or something, is like, it's like a weird Bob Dylan kind of maybe song where it's like, when the revenge of the wolf comes to town, you will fear under an open moon. And then they're giving the finger to the fire, and
like Beth looks weird giving the finger.
Well, she just seems. I mean, you're right. She's just weird and awkward
they burn,
all
like,
the time.
Thousands of dollars, and it's like, I understand money has no value currently, but what if like it suddenly gets value? And you could have been pretty freaking well off. Or, like, I think you were saying later, they use it in Commonwealth?
I think so. I think we'll need to rewatch that part again. Because I remember they were, like, confiscating money from people who came in. And I thought, like, I'm remembering something where they're, like, where they're, like, using it. They're taking it and then, like, putting it into circulation. Yeah, because, what's-his-face? The governor's son, like the douchebag one, like sends them to go get money from like a rich dead friend's house. Yeah, so they're definitely using U.S. currency in the Commonwealth. So I mean, it's true these two would have had to lug it around for a while, but I mean, you know, like there you go. That is a situation where it did become valuable again. I mean, it was very far away, but you know.
I just hate this episode. I guess I don't hate it as much as I hate 13, because they try to do this like relationship between Beth and Daryl, and I just hate it so much.
Okay, I think I hate this one more,
it's terrible.
but the next one is, I mean, I just hate the whole second half of this season. Like, after the prison is destroyed, it's just like...
I don't like Terminus.
No, it just takes so long, and they're just wandering around for so long, and the characters are split up for so long. And I think episode 12 in particular is when I feel that maybe it doesn't jump the shark exactly, but the shark sort of flops out of the water and poops all over and then rolls back into the water.
Okay.
And so it is sort of the beginning. This is where I start to just, like, it's not terrible going forward. It's good sometimes, and it's, you know, it's like decently entertaining, but I feel like this is pretty much, episode 12 is pretty much where it starts not feeling like the same show anymore exactly.
I agree with that.
Thank you.
The show definitely changes.
Yeah. I feel like, because I mean, I'm not a huge fan of season 4 for the most part, other than a couple of episodes when the governor comes back, but like the rest of it, it just feels like they're wasting time and treading water and not really doing anything interesting. But the first half of season 4 still felt kind of like a continuation of the previous seasons. And then with this one, I feel like it just starts dissolving and kind of losing what made it good.
So, okay.